What's up, y'all? I'm Andy Story with Wild Lumens, and today I'm going to show you the down and dirty way to make carnivore diet style bone broth. The cool thing is that you can kill two birds with one stone, and what I mean by that is I have some grass-fed bones that I picked up from a local rancher, and I'm able to use the bones that have bone marrow in them for bone marrow, and then the rest of the bones for my bone broth. You can always go to your butcher or your local rancher, or let's say you're buying a whole cow, you can get those bones and you can put those bones to use. And that's just another way that we're able to eat a nose to tail style carnivore diet. For example, today I'm using bones that I just roasted, and I was able to use a few of these to pick out the bone marrow. And that's in a whole other video. So check that out on the Wild Lumens YouTube channel and get caught up to speed on bone marrow. But today we're talking all about bone broth. So let's dive on in. Check it out, guys. Here's our bones. This is what we're going to be using to make our bone broth. But before we do, I want to talk about a few of the benefits to kind of get you more motivated to put bone broth in your diet. I like to drink it as much as possible. I just know there's got to be some amazing health benefits involved. Also, if you don't have the time to go ahead and make bone broth, you can always go to your local Whole Foods, go online, order pre-made, pre-batched bone broth. I actually have some in the refrigerator. This bone broth here is made by Epic. It's grass-fed. The only challenge is it's not totally carnivore diet. And what I mean is they added extra ingredients. I believe this has some jalapeno. Yeah, it has onion, celery, carrots, mushrooms, jalapeno, pepper, garlic, apple cider vinegar, thyme, and lactic acid. So it's not pure carnivore, but if you're in a crunch and you can handle some of those extra ingredients, then by all means, go for it. But if you're strict, you got to kind of make your own. I was checking out healthline.com just because I know they have quick and easy resources. According to them, animal bones are rich in collagen, magnesium, potassium, phosphorus, and other trace minerals. Bone marrow provides vitamin A, vitamin K2, minerals like zinc, iron, boron, manganese, and selenium. What's the potential benefit on a human body? They're saying it may help with the digestive system just because of the amount of gelatin in it. It may help fight inflammation. Amino acids found in bone broth, including glycine, arginine, have strong anti-inflammatory effects. Plus, the nutrients have been shown to improve joint health. That's what I was talking about on the bone marrow video. Collagen is the main protein found in bones, tendons, and ligaments, and we're getting all of that when we put it in the bone broth. It may improve sleep and brain function. We could all use a little more sleep and brain function. The amino acid glycine found in bone broth may help you relax. Multiple studies have found that glycine helps promote sleep. So there we go. That's a bunch of cool stuff that should motivate you to want to make this. And speaking of making it, what do we need? Well, we need our bones, we need our water, and we need some salt, and we need a little bit of apple cider vinegar. Now you're saying, well, apple cider vinegar is not exactly carnivore diet. Yeah, I know, but the thing is this is going to be used to help extract the minerals and nutrients from the bone and put it into the bone broth. Diving even deeper on our ingredients, I want to mention that I highly recommend this brand of salt. It's Redmond Real Salt. They're from Utah. The reason I like this is because it's coming from a salt bed, not from the ocean. A lot of times, some of the salt from the ocean can contain microplastics and other toxins coming from pollution. So go ahead and pick that up. And the other cool thing is, if you guys go to Redmond, they have a ton of other products, and you'll be able to get 15% off if you use WILD at checkout. So go ahead, check them out, save some money, buy in bulk. That's what I do. Let's also talk a little bit about your water. Water coming directly from the faucet is going to be inferior. If there's a way for you to find natural spring water that hasn't been contaminated, I highly recommend that. I'm going to go ahead and link to findaspring.com below. Check out that website, and you can see if you have a spring close to you. I have a spring about 6 miles from here, and I'm able to source that water every now and then. Now, let's get this recipe rocking. All we got to do is get your trusty crock pot, open this guy up, add your beef bones. Well, I'm using beef bones. You can actually, other people have used caribou and pork and other things like that, but today I'm using the grass-fed beef bones, filling it up all the way, or with as many bones as I have. And I should also mention that I roasted these bones prior for about 10 minutes. What that's going to do is going to make the bone broth taste a little bit better. You don't have to do that. I've made bone broth without roasting it, just using raw bone, and it tastes almost as good, but with the roasting, you do have a little bit of a different taste. Now, like I was saying before, all we've got to do is get your water, pour your water in just so that it's enough to where it covers the bones. And then all we're gonna do is add 2 tablespoons or approximately 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. One of my favorite brands is Bragg's. It's organic. If you can get that, pick up some Bragg's. And then add a little bit of salt, basically salt to taste. I just put a little bit in, and then after it's done cooking, I'll go ahead and add a little bit more salt. And that's it. All you gotta do now is cover your crock pot and then put it on high until it's boiling. So I usually wait for about, I have it on high for, I wanna say a little over an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Just kind of depends. But as soon as that thing looks like it's boiling really well, go ahead and put it back down to low, and then you can let it sit overnight. A lot of people will even let it sit even longer. It seems like the longer you let it sit, the more it's able to extract the nutrients and minerals and all the beneficial stuff for you. So 12 to 48 hours is usually good. Today, I'm just gonna be cooking this overnight so that I can have it tomorrow, and we'll see what it looks like shortly. All right, guys, day 2. We're about 5 minutes short of having this bone broth cook for 24 hours. I think we're good to go, but before we do so, can you do me a huge favor? If you're digging the carnivore diet, the ancestral diet, and all things animal-based, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button now, hit the like button, and drop a comment below if you got any questions. I really appreciate it. One other thing I want to do is give a quick little plug to my friend Jessica Haggard at Primal Edge Health. She has this amazing cookbook, the Carnivore Cookbook. You're going to be able to step up your carnivore game greatly when you get this book. I know it's done wonders for my carnivore diet recipes and makes things a lot more interesting and way better to eat. So yeah, go check her out. I think you're really going to like that book. Now let's go ahead and check out our bone broth, see what it's looking like. It's already created this amazing smell throughout the house. Right now you can tell this is going to be some very nutritious broth, bubbling slightly, which is perfect because like I mentioned before, I put it on low after it was on high for about, 2 hours or so. All we got to do is strain it, put it in some mason jars, and then let it cool, and then take the fat off, which will form and rise to the top, and then we can use that fat to cook with later on. So there's always something that we can do to make these bones and animal products go further and further and further. I should also mention mason jars. If you don't have any, go ahead and pick these up, but make sure you get the wide mouth jars just because they're a lot easier to clean, especially if you don't have a dishwasher. They do come in a smaller sized mouth, and your hand really can't fit in there unless you have tiny hands. There we go, guys. I was able to get our bone broth into the mason jars, and as I anticipated, we have 2 almost completely full mason jars, so you can see how much a normal size crock pot will yield. Also, one other thing you can do is strain the bone broth from the crock pot into the mason jar. This mason jar here has the bone broth, which was coming from the bottom, and you'll see some little chunks of meat and fat and whatever other animal product you can think of kind of all throughout. So if it was strained, it would be a lot clearer looking like this one, but for me it's no big deal. I don't mind having a little chunkiness in the bone broth. I'll probably go through these easily over the next 2 to 3, 4 days tops. What I'm gonna do is let this cool down, come back with the video camera, show you guys what the top is gonna look like with all the extra fat that you're gonna be able to reuse. All right, guys, so I let the bone broth sit in the refrigerator for about 5 hours or close to 5 hours. And as you can see, we've got some pretty decent separation going. And now we can go ahead and scoop the fat off the top and then use that to cook with later. We'll have some really good bone broth minus the extra fat. It comes off pretty easily. If I let it sit a little longer, it'd be even more solidified. For now, this is pretty much good to go. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm gonna be going through this bone broth over the next probably 3 to 4 days, maybe less, probably 3 days I can go through this. A lot of people ask me what you can do with it. Just go ahead and heat it up, put some salt in there. I've even been known to add this with my coffee in the morning, and I know I'm drinking coffee on a carnivore diet. Don't hate me, but it's just one of those things that I love. And I'll just put some bone broth in there and just make it even extra nutritious and, you know, packed with more minerals and all the loveliness that comes with bone broth. And there we go, guys. Bone broth, super easy to make, super nutritious. Totally recommend it for whatever kind of diet you're on. And let me know what you guys think. Are you digging your bone broth? Have you been making it? I also really appreciate y'all watching this and subscribing. And I'm off to make another video, and I'll see you on that one. Thanks for watching.